Hey, a lot of folks have asked what type of machinery we use for our sod jobs. A mini skid, and then I use a cultivator attachment. Some people use a Harley rake, but for me, being able to take that material and blend it and put it into the soil, it minimizes the amount of material that we have to haul off. So that's typically how we are executing our sod projects. I had a lot of people asking me about it, and I just wanted to do a video on that. So I really struggled in the beginning trying to decide, do I get the soil cultivator or a traditional Harley rake? And I ended up deciding on the soil cultivator for a couple reasons. Number one is most of the lawns that I am working on, they've already been graded out. They're existing lawns that have a relatively good grade, and just the time savings of not having a big pile of debris that we have to scoop up and haul off from a yard, the ability to bury it with the soil cultivator, that was enough for me to say, okay, we're not doing major grading work. It's a huge time saver to be able to flip the soil. So that was the reasoning for me getting a hold of a soil cultivator. I don't want to say that one is better than the other, and I really went back and forth on it over and over again. I would say each of them have their advantages depending on the application. So what a soil cultivator is basically a glorified tiller. So it has the tines there, as you can see, but these tines, as they rotate, they throw material into these screening tines. And what these screening tines do is they take the material that's on the top, and as you're pulling it back, it's the blades are rotating this way, and they push into the screening tines, and it pushes material like little sticks and grass and weeds, and it basically buries them down into the soil the depth of your cutting tines. So you got your tiller, then you have the screening tines, and then you have a leveling bar, okay? So this right here basically sets your level. You can make adjustments on this, and then once it makes it past this stage, then you get over to the wire basket. And this basket, as the machine goes backwards, it is pressing and not only kind of compacting the soil a little bit, but if you are needing to do seed work, it gives you that really nice seed bed to get your seeds to stick into. But the thing is this video was not out there, somebody discussing the difference between the two, and like, dude, like I'm spending a lot of money on this. Like his attachments, these hydraulic attachments are expensive. I think the soil cultivator was like $9,500 or $10,500 just for that attachment. A Harley rake, you know, maybe a couple $1,000 less. But I'm saying that those are major investments, and if you're only getting one, like, you want to do your research. And I just didn't see a lot of videos out there discussing the key differences between the two. So if you're going to be doing a lot of grading work, Harley rake is the way to go. It definitely has an advantage in my opinion if you're doing kind of like finished grading work. But if you are looking for labor savings and time savings, and most of your yards you're working in are relatively graded already, man, that's hard to beat. Now, the other thing I did is I got a hold of a landplane, and the landplane will take this right here, and it does allow you to do grading work. It's not a hydraulic attachment or anything. For those of you that are unfamiliar with a landplane, it's basically just a flat square with some angles cut into it that allows you to grade and smooth with. And that attachment, man, I am so glad that I got a hold of that thing. It solves so many problems. We don't have to rake anymore on our sod jobs. I'm able to cut highs and drag it to the lows. I can do a very, very nice finish grade with that land plane. So that was my strategy on that soil cultivator with a land plane, and it has worked out for us. I've probably racked up 30 sod installations since last year, since I've had that land plane attachment. And that land plane attachment, that has been the best bang for the buck. I'm so glad I got a hold of that thing. So the land plane, like, it's not perfect. Like, there's still some amount of hand raking to do, but I'll tell you, if you take one pass vertically and one perpendicular to that, it just cuts down exponentially on the amount of labor and just physical exhaustion that you experience from hand raking. This has been an absolute game changer. So if you haven't tried out a land plane, rent that thing from a rental yard man on your next grading job or your next sod job. It is a tremendous time saver. So anyways, without further ado, let me just get a little bit of footage here to show you the soil cultivator in work, so you can kind of just get an idea of what it does. So what are the downsides of the soil cultivator? So it sounds perfect. Like, it takes the material, it blends it down. You don't have to haul anything off. The area where the Harley rake has an advantage is in grading. So while this is very, very nice, and I mean, obviously it's going to take sod perfectly. It's like, it's fluffy and nice. When you go and step in that, like, it's soft. It's really, really soft. So that's one disadvantage, is that it loosens the soil so much. The second disadvantage of the soil cultivator compared to the Harley rake is a Harley rake, in my opinion, does a much better job whenever you are having to grade yards. The reason is because that Harley rake just skims off the top surface, and it's easier to just push that material around the yard. With this right here, those tines create such volume of material. Like, the yard needs to be pretty well graded before you go in there and start using the soil cultivator. So I know some people are going to ask, how does it do on existing vegetation, like a full yard? Let's say somebody wanted to turn a centipede yard into zoysia. Does it perform equally as well? Albeit, you know, I'm just sitting here working in the garden with some weeds in it. How would it do if I were just to go into straight grass? It does very, very well. Obviously, if you have very, very thick existing turf or vegetation, it's going to take a couple passes to get it the way that you need it to. But this really is a massive time saver. And I just wanted to point that out for you guys, because I know that I am working in the garden here, but it does perform nearly equally as well, just on existing thick vegetation. Anyways, I hope this video is helpful for those of you trying to decide if you're going to go with a Harley rake or a soil cultivator, or maybe you had no idea how a sod job is executed. This is just a snippet. I have a full bang out course coming in Turf Pros Academy that I'm super excited to be releasing for you guys. It's gonna be excellent. Sod is just such a fantastic way to make money. Really some fantastic margins in it, and can't wait to share that with you guys.